Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at NBNRpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Otter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
Get mad when you gonna get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Tony Romo. Season 4, episode 27, coming at you from the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room, 108th and Harrison in La Vista, Nebraska, 68128. Fellas, since NBC is one of our sponsors, let's go around real quick, talk about the drinks that we are drinking. Pickle Fight, it's amazing. Are you canning it?
Yeah, it actually comes out in like 2 weeks. Back in cans, be at your favorite retailer, be in the tap room. It's always on draft in the tap room, but it will be back in your favorite retailers in like 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Hy-Vee, 6-pack. I'm there, day one. All right.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
What do you guys think I'm drinking?
Pilsner.
Wrong.
Whoa.
No, it's Pilsner.
No.
I just want to see your faces. You guys got really excited.
No.
No, it's Pilsner.
No, remember that time Pilsner ran out? It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was not
He
awesome
drinks the
for me.
same beer every week.
So does Jared and so does Kyle.
I rotate
I like
Occasionally.
between like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I rotate. But I am on my favorite beer. If you want to ask me, I'm on my favorite beer. It's the EOS. They have a Weizen here. It is fantastic. Best beer on tap at the brewery. Yeah. Kyle, I know you're drinking that too.
Yeah, EOS all day, every day.
Hefeweizen.
Yeah, you guys have really joined the EOS team over there, huh?
Well, the EOS is the best beer. I don't know why you
The
drink
Hefty
Pilsner
boys.
every day.
You guys didn't mean to recommend that when I came
At
in?
the break, we'll get you an EOS.
All right,
Yeah.
okay.
You
What am I
said-
drinking?
You got good game.
I've got good game.
Good
Okay.
game
That's
is like the
big fan.
ultimate tailgate beer.
That's
Yeah,
another
big
one of
fan.
the hard rotators for Mike too.
Yeah, it's in my solid rotation. Usually it's like good game, EOS, Taco Vesa, EOS, good
You like
game.
how he just snuck that in?
yeah.
Well, hey,
I really like the accent with it too.
Well, Kyle does it the best.
Taco Beza.
it's not racist at all. We have with us Alex Drake. Dude, like, what do you call yourself? Like, what's the title that we should, besides like, sir?
You can just call me Alex, Drake. It doesn't matter.
Well, like, what
you
should
act like
say?
you haven't known me for 20 plus years, Jared.
Fucking dipshit. Well, I mean, so for the people out there, I mean, what would you say what's your gig?
I don't know what
So
you're
many.
asking. Like, I mean, you know, I'm co-host of Church of the Corn, and co-host of Blue Jay Overtime,
Okay.
and then I'm a mortgage banker by day.
Yeah.
There
You know
you
what?
go.
I'm sorry. He said Blue Jay Overtime. We should have fucking booed his ass.
Should have. Should
Can
have.
we go back
What
and
are we
have a
thinking?
drop?
All right, guys. Well, good game. Pickle, Heffy boys. Coming to the tap room, 108th and Harrison, La Vista, Nebraska, 68128.
We're the Hefty boys.
Yes.
I think he said hefty.
Hey,
Hefty.
Yeah.
Connor, help me out. World class.
In every class.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a diatribe, guys. I apologize in advance. Just let me get through this.
I love when this happens.
Caitlin Clark is an inspiration for many women and young girls. Many aspire to be her. She is, whether we like it or not, she is an inspiration and one of the most significant role models in sports today. This is a good thing. Now, because of this, a whole lot of Iowa fans, whether they actually like women's basketball or not, they flocked to Lincoln. I like that. And loitered PBA. They were hoping to witness 2 things. A Iowa Hawkeye win and Caitlin Clark breaking the scoring record. What I'm about to say, I know I can say comfortably because I am far from the only person that feels this way. You find any person wearing a black and gold 22 jersey and you give them the Willy Wonka business, you might be asking, what is that? You get right in front of them You feign like you come with good intentions, and then you say very loudly, "You get nothing. You lose. Good day, madam." How good did that fucking win feel?
Oh, man.
Kyle Byers.
Yeah.
You're courtside. You're doing your thing.
Yeah. I'm going to be blatantly honest. We were there to cover the record. We were there, honestly. Like,
what a waste of your time.
We were there to cover Caitlin Clark breaking the all-time scores record, right? Mm-hmm. And so I spent my time like following Caitlin around a little bit and like filming her quite a bit, as was ESPN, as was Fox, as was literally any other media outlet that you can think of. I shot probably 300 clips yesterday. And I'd say 15 to 20 of those were of Caitlin Clark bitching and moaning at her own teammates, at her referees. Listen, I don't usually speak up on things. Like, I'll just, what just doesn't bother me. I don't give a shit. But watching Caitlin Clark yesterday was one of the most painful things I've ever had to witness. I'd rather watch soccer. Like, it was
palms up.
It was, she's getting subbed out and she's screaming at her coach, no, and she's throwing this temper tantrum and throwing her arms down. Yes. And then her teammate comes out to give her a high five and she swats her hand away and walks to the sideline. And then she walks up to Jazz Shelley and tells her to shut her mouth and claps in her face. Like, miss me with that. There's nothing good that comes from that. I get people getting fired up, and she did have an and one at one point and she's screaming. I'm like, I can get down with that.
Right.
But it's just like the other stuff that I just can't get down with.
You know what I really love was, like, there was this talking point that, hey, because she needed 39, get her to 30 and then take her out and then have her do it at home or whatever. She wanted that fucking record so bad.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Like, getting it on a conference rival's home court, especially in Nebraska,
absolutely,
is huge.
And when you've got your fans in the stands too, it was loud in there for Iowa.
Yeah, it's not like it was across the country in a non-conference game that meant nothing. Like,
it wasn't at Penn State. Like, who gives a fuck?
I don't buy that.
It's totally different than Barry Bonds not breaking the home run record in San Francisco, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not the same thing. So I think it's bullshit that is the argument that people are trying to play.
Right.
But I kind of want to go back to what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a legitimate argument to be made that if Caitlin Clark was a Nebraska player, we would not be having that conversation.
Oh, absolutely not.
And
no, I'd call her queen.
Yeah.
I'd kiss her.
So that's kind of where my problem is. I'm the same way with LeBron James. Now, even if LeBron played for Boston, I'd probably feel the same. I have now dedicated myself to a LeBron James hater. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Caitlin Clark is just cannon fodder, no matter which side of the aisle you're on in this. And I wish that wasn't the case, because it does take away from like how special she really is. As somebody who doesn't watch women's basketball at all, I will actually occasionally tune in when she's playing.
Sure.
Because I love the drama. You can thank my wife for that. My wife got me into reality TV.
Yeah. She is reality.
That's what Caitlin
TV.
Clark is at this point. She is.
And look, maybe you're under the wrong impression here. When you come on No Block, No Rock, we are biased as hell.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I'm biased.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm biased.
If she was wearing scarlet and cream,
I'm not saying that I don't hate Caitlin Clark. Let's get that out of the way.
I thought you loved.
I just want there to be
she's
nuance
my queen.
here.
Did you hear him? He said, she's my queen.
I kiss her feet.
No, Jared said queen.
Yeah, we both said it.
Yeah, no, but like,
you're right.
But honestly, though, like, yeah, I know you mentioned like if she was wearing scarlet and cream, who probably wouldn't feel that. But they lost, and what you saw on the court was her hitting her teammates' hands away. Listen. Every time that ball did not come to her when she asked for it, she was freaking out on her teammates and throwing her hands up and stuff. Like, I don't know. They lost, and that's what you saw on the court from your star player. I don't know. Even if she was wearing scarlet and cream, I wouldn't be upset right now.
I was at the Nebraska men's game the day before, and there were Iowa fans all over Lincoln. I had two ladies sitting next to me at the bar, and they were talking about how they were excited to watch her break the record. They said, and if she doesn't break the record, it's going to be because they took her out, and then that way she could do it in Iowa City in front of her, her home crowd.
Scott Docterman? Like,
no, it was literally two brainwashed Iowa fans sitting next to me.
No, I know, but did Scott Docterman release this idea ahead of time?
He probably. And she was talking to, we just started talking, and then they start rambling about how they go to church with Cooper DeJean and everything else. And I'm like, this is the most Iowa conversation ever. I was like, Caitlin Clark, she's probably going to break the record tomorrow because Iowa's a lot better than Nebraska. And then they didn't beat Nebraska.
Let's go.
So
Listen,
it's awesome.
It couldn't have happened any better because, here we are, the end of the third quarter, and she's sitting at 30 points, and we're like, this is going to happen.
She need 8 more.
I'm not kidding you, dude. There were media people running back to the media room and grabbing their gear and running back out there, getting ready to watch this happen, and then nothing.
Shut out in the most important quarter of the game.
It was awesome.
Beautiful.
I will tell you. So this weekend, I am down at Waste Management Open. We go to how big of an impact Caitlin Clark has. At this golf tournament in Arizona, I counted no less than 10 Caitlin Clark jerseys. And of course, I'm wearing my Nebraska quarter zip, my NBNR hat, and every single one of those people wanted to come talk to me and tell me how we were ass, and Caitlin Clark was going to shove it right up there. Yeah. And I wish that we would have exchanged phone numbers just so I could give him a quick FaceTime and say, how do you do?
Yeah. You get nothing.
Yeah.
You lose.
But I have never seen I would argue, unless you're talking about the U.S. women's national team, I have never seen a female athlete's jersey so prolific than Caitlin Clark. It's so ridiculous the impact she's having on women's sports. I do respect the hell out of her. I think you're crazy to not.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is hilarious to see her.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think. Like you said, maybe Venus and Serena.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, in basketball, I don't think there's anybody
not like that.
Lisa Leslie.
Well, and then the
Diana Taurasi.
Brittany Griner has
Diana
a jersey
Taurasi.
in the rafters in a Russian
but
prison.
no, this is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So watching that game, I will say Nebraska got down by 14 or 15. And I'm checked out a little bit. I'm just I was going to send a tweet out saying, I know this is not my place to say this. And with all due respect, ladies, you had one goal, and that wasn't even to win the game, okay? Your one goal was to not give up 40 points to this person, although she's very good. A mid-court coronation, Caitlin Clark, record holder. She comes off, gets a standing ovation. That was your one goal for the day. And I was going to send that tweet out. But Nebraska kept scoring. And Kendall Moriarty, shout out, number 15, put the clamps down on old Caitlin Clark. And I'm like, okay, I'll put this in the drafts and I'll delete it.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Hey, hopefully we'll have to delete it.
I was going to say something
you said that if Caitlin Clark was wearing scarlet and cream, she'd be your queen. You know who my queen is? Jack Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
And she is a queen.
Hey,
she is a queen. That Aussie accent.
Oh.
And then
he likes
a little bit of
Australians.
this, a little bit of that.
That's not coming
all
from
in
me.
your face. Hey. All in your face.
All I got to say.
No, she was calling out the defense. Did you guys hear?
Oh, yeah. We have the face guard.
Yeah.
Face guard.
No, absolutely. Yes, Jazz.
Yes.
Whatever you say.
Queen. Yes, queen.
We're picking up
Yes,
what you're
queen.
putting down. No, it's Yas Queen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I think, this argument that they, kind of tailed Caitlin off near the end of that game to go get the record at home. I don't buy it. I actually think it's the opposite.
That's not true at all.
Iowa lost the game because they were so focused on getting Caitlin Clark that record that they weren't paying attention to what was actually going on.
100%.
They were focused in the wrong area.
Yeah, I was seeing the same stuff as I'm sitting on the court, I'm watching all this stuff going on, and I'm like, she's taking all these shots and she's missing. It's not like she's not playing.
Yeah.
They're giving her the ball.
I saw somebody say it was because she got cold because they took her. They didn't want her to get it, so she wasn't shooting. Got cold. She missed 7 straight jumpers.
Right.
Is that Big Ten protocol to miss 7 straight jumpers?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, there we go. Let's get into that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You got Alexis Markowski. She's trying to talk about her dad. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
I have some special memories with my father. And then you got old girl going, what? This is bullshit. Bullshit. We have a flight to catch.
Well, and
This is not Big Ten protocol. They play music while you're shooting free throws. Fuck yeah, bitch, we do.
Yeah.
I didn't know Jared could hit such a high note.
Oh yeah. Beautiful. Like how again, how much more like poetic is just everything that happened this weekend?
It
It's
literally
awesome.
unfolded perfectly.
And what's crazy is it's entirely her fault to get Nebraska on that stage first.
Yeah,
If they
because
would-
she didn't come out of the locker room.
If you would have come out of the locker room and they said this will be disjointed, Nebraska will go on until Iowa's ready to come talk to us. And then the second she walks out, she sees Nebraska out there and loses her goddamn mind.
Mhm.
It's like, this is your fault.
Yeah. Believe me, we were all out there dancing and partying
Right.
out on the court for 25 minutes. You had plenty of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me think, what were you guys saying in the locker room to each other? You know, was Caitlin yelling at you, coach?
Right. Well, she
Huh?
did plenty of that during the game.
Did Caitlin cuck you, coach? Is that why you're so pissed?
She,
Because
she didn't tackle a fan this time, so that's good. You know, I'm glad the safety was.
Security was all over.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
she
used to
security had to
court
protect the
storms.
fans. Yeah.
You know, they're
Our
used to
new-
court storms in Lincoln.
New favorite weekly tradition.
Yeah, we do that often now in Lincoln.
Yeah.
So
Is that 2 in one season?
it's getting old now.
for women,
It's not even cool
no,
anymore.
just basketball.
No, three.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
was
you got
that was
Wisconsin,
too.
Purdue.
Yeah.
I don't even like want to do it anymore. It's just old hat now.
You know, like eventually they might like respect the program enough that it's not a thing. But until then, hey,
I just want
we
to put it out
embrace
there.
poverty.
listen,
Nebraska didn't get any top 25 votes in the AP poll today for men's basketball, so they get another ranked win. I'm storming.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen. I think we're at the point where if Nebraska football gets a ranked win, I'm at midfield, shirt off. I don't care.
We're taking down the goalposts and throwing them in the plat.
Dodge
Yeah.
Street, baby.
Whether they
Going to
put
Dodge
Vaseline on them or
climbing
not.
up on the sign.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
Like
better
the-
than that.
No, we're not.
No, we
Stop.
We, ha-
Act like you've been there.
we haven't been better than that for a long
Best
time.
argument. I love it.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Yeah. I act like you've been there. We haven't. We haven't been there.
Jesus.
Last
enjoy
time we were there was 2002.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude. Anyway, so women, hats off to you. Thank you for a very pleasant, very enjoyable wrap to the weekend. Now let's get to what started the great weekend. And Alex Drake, I know you're not a huge Nebrasketball guy, but listen, we are.
You know that's
And
wrong,
so-
right?
He follows the program pretty tight.
You know I
Oh,
used to
you're-
live with Danny Nee, right?
What?
Yeah, I spent a whole summer living with Danny Nee and coaching camps.
Okay, well, put
Get
the
into
camera on
that.
him.
Yeah. Can we go?
And you're the
What-
CJ
can we
Welcher
go to that
defender,
first?
so
I
you are the
we
king
all
of
are.
CJ Welcher defender.
We all are now.
I
Now-
don't know if anybody's on the level I am.
No,
there.
you're on a different level.
Yeah,
No, last year we were hating a little bit.
yeah.
But
yeah,
when you
that's fair.
but when you make shots, that's a good thing. So
Hey,
keep
my
doing that.
my whole thing with CJ was simply, he didn't have a carved out role. He's the type of guy that needs a role, and not only that, he was always playing out of position. The guy set a freshman record in Lincoln for a reason, shooting the ball. He's a top 150 recruit. Didn't like he reclassified midseason, went into DePaul, realized that was a shithole, left, ended up in Lincoln, and he ended up in Lincoln in a couple of bad situations to start. Happy for the kid.
I don't mean to like interrupt or correct you.
Yeah.
Xavier? Did he went to Xavier? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I think it was.
I thought it was Xavier.
I thought it was DePaul, but I could
Okay.
be wrong.
I think it's Xavier.
I could
I think
Yeah,
it's Xavier. Yeah.
go on.
It might be Xavier.
Danny Nee.
I don't. I'm not going to put out all my experiences with Danny Nee on the
You
air.
do not have to.
That much fun, huh?
Yeah, Danny is a good guy.
I'm sure it was very nice to see him come back and get the.
Yeah, I didn't make it down there for that, but I will say so. That summer I was out there in Philly living with Danny. I just finished up my 1 year at Creighton as a volunteer / intern, whatever you want to call it. And Patrick Sellers, who's now the head coach at Central Connecticut State, had hooked me up with a company called the Hoop Group, who just runs exposure camps up and down the East Coast the whole summer. And so I got out there, and the first night I was out there, Danny Nee was talking to all the campers, and I had dorm duty, so I didn't get to go listen. And I was really pissed off about it. I didn't know he was going to be there the whole summer. So the next day, I catch him like in the lobby of the gym before we go do whatever drills we're going to do that day. And I stop him. I was like, Danny, I got to get a picture with you. Danny, at this point in time, Danny is like my college basketball idol. Like, all-time winningest coach at Nebraska history. Like, what I thought I wanted my life to be, right? And we get to talking, and I tell him I'm from Omaha, blah 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 blah. And he asked me how I got out here, and I was like, Danny, you don't want to know that answer. He's like, no, tell me. I was like, well, I just finished up a year at Creighton. They had connections out here and got me out here. He goes, oh yeah, Creighton, that's a really good program. I was like, Danny, I remember when he used to call Creighton that faggot school up the street.
Yeah.
And he was laughing about that. But yeah, I have good memories with Danny. I went to some luncheons with my dad when I was a kid, and I watched him make some high school JV coaches cry at these luncheons for asking stupid questions. I have a lot of good memories with Danny, and when we go to break, I'll let you guys in on some other ones.
Okay. Just make sure the cameras are on record.
Yeah.
I will. Danny likes a good time. Danny also really likes chicken wings.
Okay.
Hey,
That's innocent
I
enough.
like chicken wings.
Well, wait. What was so bad about that, Alex?
Hey,
He
no.
likes chicken wings.
Is that a euphemism?
I could probably tie it into one.
Okay. Alex Drake, let me ask you this.
What's up?
By some miraculous turn of events, Nebraska basketball plays Creighton in the NCAA tournament. Who do you root for? Come on. No,
Let me back up. Let me back up.
It's context.
So last year when Nebraska won in Omaha,
Beat the best Creighton team of all time. Go on.
we have different connotations on best Creighton team. Best finish, I don't think that's the best team.
Fair enough.
Jimmy and I used to do the post-game show live at DJ's for home games. And boy, Nebraska fans were letting us have it. Really funny because you're sitting there like, I was kind of rooting for Nebraska. Like I was on staff when Teran Petaway and Grant Gibbs got into a fight, and I was like, this is awesome. Like
This is why I do this.
So full disclosure, up until that 2013-2014 season, diehard Nebraska, anti-Creighton. Like now when they play each other, like it is that quintessential, like, I just really hope both teams have fun. Like, I have a good game. Like, and truth be told, as soon as Mac is gone, I'm done with Creighton too. Thinking everybody else I worked with on that staff is gone. As long as there's somebody on that staff that I spent a lot of time with, I'm always going to root for them. But I want both programs to be solid. I want Omaha to be good. I think it's great for the state. You played basketball in the state. I think the state is highly undervalued in terms of high school talent, and I think all three programs being good is amazing. And I hope all three get into the dance this year.
Now, when you say it's undervalued in talent, you're not referring to Jared, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
Just
speaking of
making sure.
that,
Oh my God.
you guys played basketball growing up together.
Yeah.
If you guys played one-on-one right now, who would win?
Oh, Jared would torch me today.
You think so?
Yeah, why do you say that?
I have not touched a basketball since 2019.
Dude, Jared and I were shooting at the La Vista Community
Go on.
Center.
What?
He was up there every day shooting. I don't know.
That was a long time ago.
I know. That was still like 3 years ago.
I mean, I have zero cardio.
Neither does he.
My knees are busted. So
are his.
My knees are not buzzed.
I don't run anymore. But I used to play slow pitch softball a lot, and I would have to go home and drain my knees. I don't run. I don't squat. Like
You've always been like a physical anomaly though. Like there's always something going on with you.
Oh yeah, dude. My knees have been torched since I was like in 6th grade. Like
Which is not normal.
I just have really I have old man knees. Always have.
Yes. You always wore fucking braces on your damn knees.
My shoulder, I tore that up when I was playing in college, and every once in a while I'll dislocate it in my sleep. Dislocated it last summer on the golf course.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, Jared would torch me today.
And look, knowing that's one of your weaknesses, like I would definitely play dirty.
You are a dirty player.
Jared played dirty in open gym when we were in high school.
Dude, we dick around at the damn La Vista Community Center or whatever, and he's dirty as hell.
Whoa.
So
allegations.
There's I am not joking when I tell this story, and Jared's gonna say it's bullshit, but it's not.
Go on.
summer before our senior year, we're in open gym, like getting ready for the season. And I got a breakaway and I was going for a dunk. Jared wrapped me up by the neck because coach always said no easy layups.
I mean, he committed to that.
He did.
Coach, look what I did.
He did. But there's something to be said about doing it on your own guy on a break. Like, there's a difference between a hard foul in
You're right.
in contested area.
Do you recall?
Trying to take somebody out from behind.
In that moment, Jared thought he was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
It's like, here we go.
I was hot too. Like, I got up ready to swing. Coach grabbed me really quickly.
Sorry.
I'm convinced that's why Jared didn't get a lot of clock senior year.
That's fine. No, I still remember our JV coach. I think either freshman or sophomore year or whatever.
Schaefer?
No, not Schaefer.
Schneider.
Coach Snyder. He said we were practicing up with varsity. And to this day, till the day I die, I remember. Okay, you're gonna play up with these guys. And look, just play like you always do. Play dirty. play like a son of a bitch. And I'm like, all right.
Okay.
So tackle Alex Drake by the goddamn neck. Basically.
That's what I
No easy layups. I go, yes, sir.
I always thought it was funny that we, like our senior year, we had 2 seniors whose job that was. You were one of them. And full disclosure, I championed for Jared to get time. Like, I thought Jared could play a little bit.
It was rough. But go on.
Was just
it
like,
was rough.
No talent.
And you guys were like not a very good team.
No. We were not. Our junior and senior year, we won a combined 7 games.
Okay,
like,
It was brutal.
Hey,
that's what I recall.
Yeah, we were really bad. But I championed for Jared to get some tick. And the other guy we had a junior and a senior, and then Jared was the second senior. Their jobs were like to foul. But they never put Jared into foul and like set the tone, but they used a couple of football players. And they would forget to foul. And I was like, at least Jared knows to do it.
And at least Jared's very good at it.
At least Jared's going out swinging.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm trying to remember another story, but are you referring to Travis? Travis Combs. I mean, that
Travis was a year ahead of us. That was interesting.
That's right.
And Jerry not making the team the year before that was more interesting. But not to get into old times.
Hey, just reminiscing.
For the listeners that don't know the type of basketball players you guys were, describe Jared and then you describe Alex.
Jared, don't take offense to this.
Please.
Jared is a quintessential practice player.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true.
Like when we would be practicing, Jared would light up the nets, like could not miss.
Yeah.
And then you put him in a game where there's more than 10 people in the crowd and a referee with the whistle, his hair's on fire and is lost. Like, and I thought Jared could figure it out, but coach would never give him a chance.
That's the
and
thing,
part of that is, and I suffered from this at points too. So don't think I'm just throwing it on you. Like the way it was for us was like, if you did not go out there and immediately do something correct and impact the game, you were gone for 4 games. And so so Jared was like immediately hair on fire. And I remember one time Jared forgot to dribble and ran with the ball. And I was like, oh, fuck, there goes Jared for 4 games.
Hey, ball security, job security.
Yeah.
If I had to describe Alex, like you were that dude.
Flop master.
You were always trying to take fucking charges.
I took 38 my senior year.
38?
38.
Yeah, you definitely did.
I also set a lot of illegal screens that didn't get called, and I would piss some guys off, and then we'd be in the bonus, and that guy knew it was coming, and he'd try and run me over, and I'd just crumble to get free throws.
But you were that guy that you could, like, you were a lanky fuck, and you could score from anywhere.
I could,
like,
if I got the ball.
You're kind of Kevin Durant a little bit.
Wow.
Listen. Just
our problem is we just as a team were really bad.
I remember one of our seniors saying before a game, hopefully we could keep it within 10 points. Dude, I just remember being like, that sums up our entire high school playing career.
Yes.
Let's just keep it within 10.
I was so freaking pissed. And I'm
So
like, and I'm not freaking playing that much. How much worse can it get?
Put me in, coach.
So senior year, like our defense was good. We were like a top 8 defensive team in the state. We just couldn't score for shit. And I remember going into district. So I don't know how old you guys are, but 2009 was our senior year. Lowest state's championship scoring game like since World War II. It was prep and somebody else. And we played prep in the first round of districts, and we went in with like, we're gonna hold the ball, like nobody shoot the ball. That was our strategy. And we went up 10-0, and I scored 10 points to start the game and like got fouled on 2 jump shots.
Oh, you love it.
And then the rest of the team was like, all right, if he can do it, everybody can do it. And then all of a sudden we're down 30.
Oh,
wow. Man. And I was like,
yeah, we were not. That was a frustrating.
We were not disciplined like at all.
Nope. MTXE, baby. MTXE.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun. I mean, we're hearing that Jared, there's a reason why Jared loves the lunch pail guys.
Yeah.
He was just a practice master.
He is Sam Hoiberg.
When Sam Hoiberg goes in the game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this.
Leo DiCaprio point.
I'll tell you this too, because my dad coached Jared played on like our select team in junior high that my dad coached for a couple of years. My dad loved Jared.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah. Bob was a big fan of Jared.
Oh, geez.
And Jared can play, man. Jared didn't get the love, and I always feel for those guys. That's why CJ Wilcher is the guy that I've defended.
I am CJ.
Jared is CJ Wilcher. He would have given me a shot. Just like him.
Like not to turn this to Creighton, but you know who else is that guy? Stephen Ashworth this year for Creighton.
Yeah.
Like,
just give him a chance. Give CJ a chance. Give Jared a chance.
I think. I mean, we could turn it to football. Like, I know you guys aren't there, but I'm kind of there with Heinrich Harburg.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think there's like. For people who have never done it, and I obviously didn't do it to this level, but there's so much that people miss in what happens day to day in college athletics, not only like between like your class load and having to go to weights and just managing a schedule, right? Like that's hard for certain people. When I was at Creighton, there was 3 guys that didn't know when they were supposed to be at lunch, like legitimately. And Creighton's is like a tough school to get into.
Yeah.
So, I just think there's a lot that people forget in terms of that or just don't know at all. And then when you look at a guy like Heinrich Harburg, who year 1 is completely destroyed fundamentally by Verduzco to try and turn him into Patrick Mahomes. That was like his big thing.
Yeah.
And then the following year just left out to rot by Mark Whipple.
Laughed out of the room.
Like, I feel for the kid, man. And I take Rule at his word when he says, I think he can be a quality quarterback. Now, my stance is simply this. He was obviously the best one we had all year. Like, led us to the most wins. I think there's a lot left to be desired. Like, more than one thing can be true, right? Like, can he be better? Did he have to play better? Absolutely.
Right.
Was he hurt in certain areas, not only by this staff, but by previous staffs? Yeah. Could he be a Power 5 starter someday? I don't know anymore. Like, I think he missed the most important parts of his development.
And that's unfortunate, but we also, I'm sorry, but we can't go back and be like, all right, let's coach him up. No,
You want to redo?
It's gone.
No, there's no redo.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It sucks.
Now, I see a world where, like, dude, like, for him, the biggest thing is his arm doesn't talk with his feet. And that's a pretty easy fix. Now, do his eyes talk with everything else? That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can look at Heinrich Harburg and be like, go be a game manager.
No.
It's like, just go out there and we're going to play junkyard ball. Like, just go out there and just make it something happen. Like,
Go run that way.
It's not like he's looking at defenses going, okay, I can go here, I can go here, I can go here. No, he's like, look, they're telling me this should be the guy. If it's not, I'm running.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing people forget about is there was zero other experience at the skill position to help him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody knew how to get open. Nobody knew the plays. Like, worst possible scenario for the worst possible player. I see a world where does he get to 55% completion rate, and does that get you 3 more wins this year? Probably.
Yeah.
So I don't like all the hate that he gets.
No, I don't. We don't hate him on this podcast at all because one, he got the most wins out of all the
best
quarterbacks
winning
last
percentage
year.
since Tommy Armstrong.
Yes, exactly.
Oh God.
But the thing that we always say, and especially myself, is there's a role for Heinrich Harburg in this offense. I just don't think it's at quarterback. It's going to be at like a Taysom Hill type role. It's going to be tight end. It's going to be lining up as an H-back. It's going to be flexing him out as a wide receiver. A wildcat quarterback where it's like, hey, he's going to run up the middle. Oh, wait, no, he's actually going to sling it 80 yards because the guy's got a cannon of an arm.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's a role for him because Matt Rule says he wants to get the best players in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to run that positionless offense. Why not do it with a guy like Heinrich Harburg,
Yeah,
so I just
totally
don't think
agree.
he's going to be like, you just got Dylan Raiola, right? You got the number one quarterback in the country. And you also got Danny Kaelin, who's not like, he could have gone to another Power 5 school.
Yeah, he's not a slouch.
Yeah, he's not a slouch. So I think if you're Glenn Thomas, who was, had a press conference today, you're looking at this room and you're like, I got a lot to work with. I got two raw guys. You got one that's maybe a Mahomes type player. You got Danny, who's got all the tools. And then you got Harburg, who's just kind of like a guy that you could put him anywhere on the offense and he's going to make an impact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would be shocked if you don't see all three of those guys behind center at some point this season. Danny is going to get his 4 games. I would be incredibly shocked if he doesn't see it. They're still going to redshirt him. Anybody questioning, I still see this on Twitter, anybody questioning if Dylan is going to be the starter, read a book.
Yeah.
Read a book. He is going to be the starter.
You don't even need to read a book. You don't even need to be able to read.
Get a picture book.
I agree. I think Dylan's the starter 100%. But I do see, and this is where I get a ton of hate. I see a world where he's not necessarily clear-cut number one guy day one in game 1 against UTEP for a variety of reasons. That doesn't mean I don't think he's the best quarterback. But I see a world where maybe you bring him on slow because whether we like it or not, Colorado has a ton of playmakers on defense. Is he going to be adjusted to the speed? Who knows? You'd like to think so. He's like the most developed quarterback ever.
Yeah, at Buford, Georgia, that powerhouse high school. I mean, like 90% of those guys are going to play in college football.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So. But I do see a world where like Heinrich Harburg trots out for the first couple of series against UTEP, so Dylan's not overly amped to start. I mean, I don't think it happens, but I see that world. And you got to get Heinrich's going to be number 2. Yeah. This is going to be a different offense. You have to also get him comfortable in case Dylan goes down.
I would be shocked if UTEP is not one of Danny Kaelin's 4 games.
Oh, yeah. I think all 3 play that game.
Yeah. That is a game where you'll probably see that whole QB room. And we'll get to, I feel like Danny is going to get probably the least out of those 3 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get to see him at least a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the majority of that game will be Dylan. And then Harburg will come in, barring, Dylan making some serious mistakes. But again, like you said, to kind of get him adjusted to the speed of the NCAA and bring in Harburg a little bit more experience to kind of run some different play sets.
Yeah.
Like it'll be very interesting to see that game. And I'm very excited for
it. And you mentioned barring some serious mistake. I'll say a mistake.
No mistakes, plural.
Oh, right. Mistakes. A mistake of continuing this podcast with an empty glass is
let's go take a quick break.
Just not going to work. So we're going to take a quick break.
There are several empties.
Oh, hold on. You know what? I copped out and didn't answer Jared's question.
What is?
I'm rooting for Nebrasketball if they play each other.
Oh yeah, I forgot we missed that answer.
I copped out. I forgot about that.
It would be their first tournament win.
Well, no, they're not playing first round.
There's no way they're playing.
That would be amazing, though. Yeah,
but it is first shot of the Sweet 16.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
how would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. We have the saying, no block, no rock.
Bingo.
Thank you, Troy. I'm assuming Troy said that. I
Yep.
can't hear. So, guys, before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about the quarterback situation with quarterback 1, Dylan Raiola, and Heinrich Harburg. And I just, right when we signed off to get our drinks, I just said, I'm Occam's razor guy. I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible. I just don't see the future, right? I'm looking in the future. I do not see anyone but Dylan Raiola trotting out there game 1 right away. The way I look at it is it's kind of cutthroat, kind of ruthless, but either he's your savior or he's not. Like, yeah, you might say, that's crazy. You're putting all your eggs in one bet. Happy Easter, dude. Like, either you're our bunny. Like, seriously, I think it's ride or die. You know, you kind of brought up like the mental aspect of it. And I'm just like, Matt Rule doesn't have time to think about the mental, health.
No.
I know that sounds kind of bad, but ride or die.
Yeah. So maybe I don't do a good job of articulating it. I mean, we had a good conversation back there, but I get a lot of hate for this. So when we were bringing in McCord, right, and he was on board, I made it very clear multiple times to people that McCord didn't make sense to me for a variety of reasons. One, he doesn't fit everything that you've said you wanted to do. Like you want quarterback run game, you want all that stuff. But 2, it didn't make sense to me to bring in a 1-year guy with such a young offense. And when Matt Rule has said explicitly multiple times, he's not going to sacrifice the future for now, right? So that's where I lean towards Dylan, right? That, like, you're not going to sacrifice the future for now. Dylan can grow with the rest of these young receivers coming in. But at the same time, if there is anything, and I'm not saying there is, but if there is anything that makes you hesitant about Dylan's game through the spring and fall before that first game, I don't think you put him out there, because not only are you not sacrificing the future for now, you're not going to sacrifice now for the future, and you're not going to sacrifice the kid for now, right? So I think it's just very nuanced in terms of how this is all going to go and how they really want the offense to look this year. Obviously, you want to be more explosive in the passing game, and there's no doubt about that. But
right,
I don't think anything. You're dealing with people, man, and you're dealing with kids, like, and that's where people get hung up. Like, you can watch film, you can watch this and that, but you don't know how they're interacting in the locker room with the players. You don't know how they're interacting with their teammates or the coaches. Like, you're dealing with people, and there's a gray area, and there is a world. Now, it's a very small world, but there is a world where I do see Heinrich Harburg going out there for the first two games as a starter and splitting reps with Dylan until Dylan is fully ready. If for whatever reason he's not ready day one.
So
I hear you.
Jared, your argument about, Occam's razor.
I really hope he's saying that wrong, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
Occam.
But I think that is overly simplified.
Yes.
Because we cannot expect Dylan Raiola to walk out game one and our problems are gone. Again, like you just mentioned, it is important to remember that these players, especially Dylan Raiola, are kids. And he will make some mistakes.
Oh, I did not say that.
But
Trust me.
But saying all eggs in one basket, he's the savior or he's not, it's going to take time. It may not immediately, it might not even happen in year one.
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised if his touchdown interception ratio is like 15-10, 15-8, something just kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
But he is your guy.
Do you want to hear about the two guys we're comparing? Okay.
Uh-oh.
You look back, let's go back in time. Heinrich Harburg out of high school. Okay. 48 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 55% completion percentage. In college football, Heinrich Harburg turned into a guy that was 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 49% completion percentage.
Woof.
You go look at Dylan Raiola's high school stats. He threw 88 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, completed 65% of his passes. They're different types of quarterbacks. And I think if you're Matt Rule, you've said since day one that I like to build around a young guy. I want a young quarterback. I did this with PJ Walker. He said it over and over again that he wants a guy that he can build around for multiple years. And although Heinrich has a couple years left, I think Dylan Raiola fits that mold perfectly.
Yeah.
And he's a natural passer. He's a prodigy of the quarterback position.
Bruh, who better?
Right.
Like, honestly.
Than a Husker legacy.
I'm sorry. The growing pains, absolutely. There's going to be.
We tried this Husker legacy thing a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You mean with former head coach Scott. Yeah, that guy.
So the Dylan Raiola stuff is super interesting to me too, right? Like, obviously, like everybody's rooting for his success. I'm never going to root against Heinrich Harburg. No. I want Heinrich Harburg to find success in any way.
If he's successful, we're happy because that means Nebraska's successful, right?
But no, the Dylan stuff is always funny to me because I said on our show several times back in September, and I text some On Three guys about it too. Like, I had heard rumblings. I don't know if you had. We've talked about this stuff a little bit, that he was back in play in September, and people told me I was crazy and like throwing a dime in a wishing well, right? Yeah. But the people that I was hearing it from are very credible.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them inside that locker room, and it came out to happen. Like, I think this. I don't want to say this was always the plan, but I think part of it, and this goes to him being a kid, right? Like, it wasn't immediately accepted by Nebraska. Like, yeah, we'll take you back. Like, they made him prove that he wanted to be here, right? So. I just think from that aspect, there's still more things that Matt Rule wants him to prove before he just anoints him the guy. I think he's the guy. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I think he's the guy, but I think he still has things to prove. And for a kid to learn some of those things you have to prove, it can take time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember saying I thought Dylan Raiola was coming to Nebraska, and Mike said, hell no, and then turned around and spit in my face.
Oh, is that what happened?
So, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I watched it.
I heard that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I think maybe with my job, maybe it's just really influenced the way that I think and approach things. And maybe it's too simplistic, and it's, I always say it's like ooga booga caveman, but I just, and I get it. It's complicated. They're human beings. But I think we also just kind of forget that, like, he has to win. Like,
yeah, and I think, and when it comes to, like, the mental health and, like, the psyche of a guy, especially as a freshman, like, Glenn Thomas just stood in front of the media today and talked about these guys know the pressure that they're under. Like, we don't shy away from that. It's a privilege.
Hey,
it's a privilege to be under pressure. Yeah.
If you're coming to Nebraska, like, what if you can't hack it here? For one, I mean, we're a blue blood program, right?
Yeah,
you would agree. When you come here, you know the expectation. If you can't hack it, then go to Mississippi State, maybe, or go to
UTEP,
Louisiana Lafayette. Like, I'm like, that's cool. If that's your path, dude, I am not going to judge you. But if you're going to come here, like, we are annoying.
Yeah.
We judge your every move, like, under a microscope. Yeah. Fishbowl, etc. You have 90,000 in the stands watching your every move. Like, you've been on these visits.
Yeah, but there's more nuance to that even with Dylan, right? Like, he's the prodigal son.
You think you don't own it?
I think he thinks he knows that. In reality, this is just the way it works in the world, right? You don't know what you don't know. Yeah. He doesn't know what it's going to be like the first time he throws an interception at Memorial Stadium.
And he gets booed for the first time.
Yeah, like,
because it's going to happen.
You don't know what you don't know. We're talking about a guy who threw one interception his senior year of high school.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens if he drops back first play against UTEP and throws an interception?
All he knows.
And not only an interception, a pick six, right? Like, worst possible scenario. Like, does that crush him? You would like to think no, because he's been prepared. But there is a world where that happens to a 19-year-old kid.
Well, right. I think another thing that, Jared, you say there's 90,000 people in those stands watching his every move.
Yes.
For a player like Dylan Raiola, it's much more than 90,000.
Yeah.
The nation is watching a player like this. It's not just Nebraska.
Georgia fans are invested now. Ohio State fans are invested. USC fans are invested.
They want to pounce.
Yes. Everybody's waiting for that. So, like, you could say, yeah, we're a rabid fan base, this and that. But for Dylan Raiola, even more. He was the number one player in the class, decommitted twice, went to 4 high schools. Like, he already has some negative connotations.
He's got baggage.
Right or wrong, right? Like, I don't think it's as clear cut as we would like it to be. There's nuance in everything in sports. There's nuance with people. There's gray areas. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
As long as he doesn't pull his groin like Chubba, he'll be starting game 1.
Just win, baby.
Just win.
Hey, I know it's complicated.
Hey, so here's my question.
Just win. Just win. It's that easy. Come on, guys.
Here's my question for all of you guys. Like my slight pushback on it.
Okay.
Because I do think Dylan's the right guy. Let's say Dylan's not the right guy.
Yeah.
At that point, do you trust the staff? Like, if Dylan doesn't win the job, are you anti the staff at that point?
Well, Mike, you brought up this point. Name a team in the country that would not take Dylan Raiola in their class.
Everybody would.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like if Dylan commits, you're like, why did you take that guy? What did you see in him?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, it's because of maybe something Dylan did, a choice he made, or whatever. Every staff, including the best one in the nation, Georgia, wanted the guy on their roster.
Yeah. And on this show, and I think you can listen around to just about any show, the move to bring Jeff Sims to Lincoln was a ding on Matt Rule and co.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Sat.
Now, compared to Dylan Raiola, where, like you said, any school in the country would have taken him, any coach. It would have been Nick Saban, it would have been Ryan Day, it would have been anybody. Kirby Smart, it would have been anybody. So
yeah,
I don't think if it doesn't work out, I don't think that's a ding on Matt Rule, but the Jeff Sims thing was a ding.
I mean,
that's not what I'm asking.
I think he's asking is if
Heinrich wins the
if
job.
Heinrich wins the job,
Oh.
is it a knock on the staff if it doesn't work?
Oh,
I
Right.
don't think so.
Because you still have Dylan in waiting. Like,
Yes.
Dylan's still going to get his opportunity.
I think in Rule you trust. I think regardless of
and
what
that's,
happens.
that's where I'm at with it, right? Like, whoever wins the job wins the job.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
And I think another thing that helps, unless here I go again, my anti-Sat thing. Thank God he's not coaching quarterbacks, right? Am I the only one that thinks
Dude,
that?
no,
I'm sorry. I know. Listen, I know what you're gonna say. I already know. Injuries, I know.
No, that's not what I'm going to say.
He's on the Sat.
Dude, no. Oh, I'm.
Wait, you're with me?
Yeah, I'm very anti-Sat. So let's run through this here, right? Like, go ahead and pull up PJ Walker's stats at Temple.
Oh, I got you.
See, I thought he was going to do the whole
No,
had a bad hand.
No,
I know that.
No, I acknowledge Sat had a bad hand, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a really bad track record.
Yeah.
Okay, PJ Walker's college stats.
So PJ Walker, one of his best years is year 1 as a freshman.
Yep.
Where Matt Rule says they are not actively coaching him. You know what his best year after that is? The year Satterfield moves out of the quarterback room.
And
then it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
And then year 4, he's gone. Like, so there's some evidence there. Matt Rule's best offenses at Baylor. You know who's not involved there? Marcus Satterfield. Guess what? Satterfield at South Carolina, 117th in the country in turnovers. Like, here's my take on Satterfield. Yeah. I think Satterfield is good at designing an offense. I think he can put together a decent scheme. I think he has zero feel for the game.
Zero game feel.
He has zero feel for the game. And I think it's even worse when he coaches quarterbacks, probably because he's too focused on that quarterback's abilities instead of just focusing on what the team can do. And I think Glenn Thomas, who has a successful track record as co-OC, both at Temple and Baylor, hopefully fixes some of that.
But you did say that you take Matt Rule, what he says, like, for what it's worth.
No, I asked that.
Yeah,
I asked that.
Okay. But I'm just saying, Matt Rule did say, he stood in front of the media and said, you guys, when I say something, I mean it.
Uh-huh.
Coach Satterfield is our offensive coordinator.
Sat is calling plays.
He's calling plays.
Oh, yeah, he's calling plays, but that doesn't mean Glenn Thomas isn't, like, giving him 3 to choose from.
Yeah, listen.
It's not like there's not an NCAA 14 screen up there.
Yeah.
It's the suggested play menu only.
Yeah.
Glenn Thomas.
Ask Madden.
I mean, Donnie did it. Donnie called the game-winning touchdown run against Northwestern, right?
Yeah. Glenn Thomas joined Satterfield and Matt Rule in 2015 at Baylor, and the offense soared. Like, that's when the team.
Satterfield wasn't the OC there.
He wasn't?
No, it was the guy with the Giants now.
Okay.
Why can't I think of his name?
Here,
Satterfield was only at Temple because he
was not at Baylor.
No, He might have been tight ends at Baylor for a time.
He coached with Sat, at Baylor in 2015.
At Temple.
Mike, look it up.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Mike, it's all on you. Hurry up.
It's not on me.
While you look, I just want to say, Alex
He
Drake.
coached tight ends at Baylor in 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
So just tight ends.
So not
So
2015.
so it would have been Temple. Yep.
Yeah. So at Temple.
But you're right. The offense did soar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guys, I went back and watched YouTube games of both Temple and Baylor to come to this conclusion to make sure I'm not a psychopath, which I might be going and watching that.
Yeah.
Satterfield can put together a competent offense. He just can't call it in game when he's got so much going on.
That's why when Coach Rule said Satterfield's calling plays, I'm not going to lie. I said, he's going to be the fucking anchor to your foot. I'm sorry. You said he can design plays. There's guys running out, whatever. Zero game feel. You can draw the best plays of all time, but if your players cannot execute the damn plays.
Let's look at Purdue. Heinrich Harber gets his head taken off, and then he calls an option the other way when he's wobbling back to the huddle.
Yeah.
And there's no feel.
Another good example was
or
Northwestern.
the option Wisconsin.
Northwestern, first play of the game is a pass interception.
On the goal line.
Windy as fuck,
What are we
dude.
doing? What are we doing?
And Northwestern had a terrible rush defense, and we opened the game with 3 straight passes.
Let's talk about the option to open to overtime at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Chubba Purdy hasn't proven that he can run the option at all, for one. Zero feel. But I think Satterfield's gone after this year. I think there is.
Me.
Yeah.
I think there's a legitimate, I don't know what the number is, but I think there is a Brian Ferentz race to 325 here.
Shit.
I don't know what that number is.
Hey, I'm just glad everyone was clowning on Iowa when they could have been clowning on our offense.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm with you, dude.
I don't know where you guys land on this, but I think the Satterfield hire was a panic hire.
Well,
as a whole,
I don't totally disagree with that.
They couldn't get Peets, right?
Yeah,
They kind of wanted Peets as a quarterback
thing
coach.
messed up. Yeah.
Well, so
I know.
Here's the thing a lot of people forget about. When Matt Rule came back to Nebraska, the last time he had coached, there not only was not a transfer portal, but there wasn't an early signing day.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to have a staff in place. And Pete's saying no right off the bat. I don't remember when they announced Satterfield as QB coach, but it was a long time.
Late.
It was a long time.
He was fighting it, I think. He was fighting it.
And so, I think it was just a panic hire. And I think this season, this off season, there was some more potential moves. I had heard EJ Barthel was looking at other things.
Yep.
I think Matt Rule did a lot to keep some of those guys on defense too. So some of this staff was pieced together. I would argue that McGuire was a panic hire and Wagger as well, which is why you let Wagger walk so easily.
Well,
and of course, when they make these hires, you always talk yourself into it. Bob Wager, he has connections to Texas. Whoa. Garrett McGuire, he's a prodigy. He's a future head coach in waiting.
Yeah, and you talked yourself into it because of the success with McGuire's dad.
Yeah.
Satterfield.
Joey.
South Carolina, their last 2 games, they scored 80 points per game. And then it comes out, oh boy, he might not have called any plays. But when the South Carolina fans were saying that to us, what were we saying?
Shut up.
Shut up, South Carolina. You're just bitter.
Yeah, you're dumb.
Spencer Rattler sucks.
Lo and behold, probably right.
Yeah, I think with every fan base, there's some legitimacy to all gripes.
Of course.
But then you look at Carolina and you're like, okay, maybe you're a little over the top. Are there some gripes with Matt Rule in Carolina?
Yeah. Oh,
His
God.
NFL tenure was a disaster.
Are there legitimate gripes? One gripe I have for Matt Rule that he's had everywhere, and I still hold it, is clock management late in the game. I have some serious complaints about that.
I think Matt Rule is very good at evaluating talent. I think he's a great people person. He can get people through the door and ultimately in the program. He's going to get top 20 classes regularly, despite a 5-7 record, despite the program not going to a bowl game for 7 years. He can do all that. But damn it, when it comes to the game situations, and yes, I will say game feel, that's where I have my questions. Mm-hmm. And that's why, in my mind, he has to bring in very talented people to make up for some of the coaching decisions that they make.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also why he's trying to get Dana Holgerson on staff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I think there's a legitimate conversation there, not only to focus on like teaching Sat certain things, but helping him as well.
Yeah. I think Matt Rule's biggest strength is his ability to build and maintain cultures.
So, okay, I have a question there. I have a little bit of pushback.
Okay.
Where has he maintained culture though?
Because he's bounced.
So I made this point in the group chat that you guys are in and on my pod. Like, I don't think this to be the case, but I think it's fair to bring up. There's a legitimate argument that Matt Rule is a slightly better and more successful version of Mike Riley than he is not, where like he might excel in year 2 and 3 and then hit a downward trajectory just because you've never seen him sustain success.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. A little skeptical just because you've never seen it, right?
But I don't know. So where was Matt Rule before Temple?
He was just always like an assistant.
So okay, so I think for me, this is kind of my outlook on things. Is I've kind of bounced around from jobs in levels. I mean, I was at FNBO for like 7 years, and I moved my way up pretty quickly.
Represent.
Yeah, right. So I look at Matt Rule, and I'm like, okay, at Temple, he flipped it around. He had a lot of wins, had a lot of success. And then when the bigger job came calling, he took it. So he moved to Baylor, did the same thing there. The job started calling, and he's ready for the next level. Moved to the NFL. And then that didn't work out. And he's like, okay, I really like college. And so then he came back down, and now he's gonna kind of hang out here. That's how I see it.
Every time he left a place,
he left in a better place.
There was always a legitimate reason to leave, right?
Yeah.
It was like, honestly, Temple, like, yes, I'm going to leave. I have a better opportunity. Who's going to turn down the NFL? Like, what if it works? Wow. I mean, you're an NFL coach. Wow. But you go to Carolina, of all places, you're not doing yourself any favors. Poverty Panthers.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
where
he got fired up.
Yeah,
going from the poverty Panthers to Nebraska it's a better job.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, people, I don't have any complaints about moving on. I'm just saying, like, you said he knows how to maintain culture. My question is, where has he maintained it? Nowhere.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But if you look at, the bouncing from Temple to Baylor to Carolina, during the coaching search where we ultimately end up with Matt Rule, it is very public that Matt Rule, talking to Nebraska, said, I don't want a short-term contract. If I come to Nebraska, I want to be there. And that's ultimately how we end up with an 8-year contract.
Right.
I don't see him moving anytime soon. That is my speculation. There's really nothing other than, the words that he said during the coaching search to suggest that. But I mean, he is really setting down his roots in Nebraska. And so I think this is where we're really going to find out. Like, we know he can build that culture. This is where we're going to find out if it maintains.
Yeah, we're on different sides of the fence there a little bit. Like, I think he's great at building culture. I'm sure he can probably maintain it because he seems like that type of guy. I don't think he's here past year 6, though. I don't.
You think he moves on, or do you think?
Yeah. I think he moves on.
Okay.
If things work out the way that we hope they do,
I think what's going to happen, and you can kind of see it a little bit in his face on the Pat McAfee interview, like when he was talking about Penn State. I think sometime in the next 5 to 6 years, they're going to be burnout on James Franklin, not winning, right? Like, not getting over Michigan and Ohio State. And if Matt Rule has the success here that he has, then he's going to take that job. That's his alma mater, and I can't fault him for that.
Right.
But I also went into this, and Mike and I have had this discussion. I went into this coaching search, said it on my radio show, said it on my podcast 100 times. This next guy doesn't have to be a long-term hire.
No,
right. It doesn't have to be. And I don't think after Kirk is gone, I don't think you're going to have any more 15-plus year guys. I think everybody's going to be in the 5 to 8. It's win now. So, and there's levels to it. Like, each coach has a ceiling at each school. Each school has a ceiling with each coach, however you want to say it. I don't know if Matt Rule gets us back to a championship, but he sets us up really well for the next guy.
Yeah, and the next guy could be on the staff. We don't know. If Garrett McGuire actually pans out, wouldn't that guy be a hell of a coach? He's young. He could maybe hang around a little bit. But I don't know. I think one thing that makes me wonder about the future of college football is if they become their own thing. If college football becomes its own entity and essentially is like a feeder league for the NFL, and the other athletics in college can just go back to being athletics and they don't have to go from California to New York and all this stuff. Like, does that change things in the coaching sphere? Do coaches stay longer, Or is it going to be like the NFL where if you don't have success in year one, you're gone? Like how much are they going to be like the NFL if college football becomes its own thing?
I think there's always going to be too much money in it.
Yeah.
And even if you separate college football from NCAA purview, like you're still going to have the college part of it, and they're going to still be generating money for the schools and this and that. So I don't think it'll change that much from that aspect. What I think is really interesting to like look at, and this is a wild theory I've had, is I see more of a world in the upcoming years where, like, you know, Nebraska's recruiting a quarterback, but they don't really have a spot for him today, and he's kind of a project player. You talk Akron into signing him and playing him for a couple of years.
I've heard that.
And you know, you talk your boosters into donating to their NIL so they can pay that kid or a couple other kids. And you have like minor league with like Akron or some of these smaller FCS schools, whatever. I think that's kind of more likely to happen. Kind of like, you know, some schools have junior colleges that are essentially feeders. And I think you could start to see that with 4-year schools.
That'd be cool.
So Mike, your question about like coaches staying longer at a place, getting fired, I think with the way college football is now, with these mega conferences, etc., people are really going to have to adjust their definition of a successful season. Like, for instance, would it surprise me that a school like Ohio State, who has lofty expectations every year, they win 9 games a year? To them, that's insane. That's Ryan Day, you're gone. 9 wins is unacceptable. Where with this mega conference NFL-ish league, it's like, well, 9 wins is pretty damn solid, and like you're probably going to make a expanded playoff in that situation. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Especially the expanded playoff thing. If they go to 16, that's when things get interesting, because that's when the 8 and the 9 win teams are going to start getting in. And then it's like, all we got to do is just make it. Ask the fucking Chiefs. We got to do is make it.
I think we get to 16 sooner than later. I think it's almost going to mirror what FCS does from a playoff perspective, which I think is actually great for the sport. I really do.
I'm down to clown, baby.
I'm always down for more football too.
Yeah, quality football.
Yes,
like, I don't want to watch the New York Pinstripes Bowl. Like,
nobody cares.
Yeah. So
I mean, if Nebraska's in it for the first time in 7 years,
whatever, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go. I'm going to New York. Bye.
I'm excited with where things are headed. I think there's still a lot of things that need to get ironed out. But I mean, I've made the argument for the last couple of years, and people want to argue with me with it. And I think this year kind of proved it. But parity in this sport is maybe not the highest it's ever been, but I'd say the highest has been in like the last 10 years. And I think it's going to continue to grow. I think like Nebraska is going to get there sooner, but I think there's a world where like Illinois becomes really competitive in college football, and Baylor is consistently competitive, and Iowa State, because you know, you're going to have those leftovers at Georgia, Bama that want to play, and they want to go to that team that was 12th seed in the playoff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to get the guys that didn't get accepted by them from the portal, but they want to compete with that team. So then they're going to go to a conference rival or whatever. Like, it's just going to, with NIL allowing people to get paid and not necessarily be on scholarship, which allows you to bolster the talent. I think the parity is going to continue to rise. Like, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is still to have film, right?
Yep.
Still to have film playing. So not just sitting on the bench at Georgia is not going to always be the best thing for you.
I mean, the way college football is right now, it's all right. I want to win a national title. Where do I go? I go to 3 places, and that's it. If we're being honest, like, you even Cincinnati makes it. Don't ask me how.
Right.
Even Washington, like, they've always been just pretty good. Whatever.
They're on a weird like cycle. Like 4 years really bad, 1 year really good.
Yeah. So like for the most part, though, I want to win a natty. I go to Bama. I go to Georgia. I go to Ohio State. But like you said, with the expanded, it's like, well, I could stay closer to home. This team's pretty damn good. They made the playoff last year. They got a solid roster. I'll stay there instead of going to Bama.
Well, and it also, once schools can start paying players and NIL collectives go away, it's going to make things a lot better, because you can have players sign contracts, and then it won't be the Wild Wild West anymore, where you got collectives oh, I'm going to give you this, Bugatti and an apartment and all this, and that never happens.
Yep.
They don't get anything.
Yeah, but the downside to that though is that
Matt Rule's in charge of it.
If you start if you start doing contracts and you've got kids that don't want to be there, and you start running into things like
there'll be an out
non-competes.
Yeah, like you start running into some serious issues. You got some toxic people that are like forced to be there just because they signed a contract. How do you get out of that?
You gotta have agents.
I think if they get to that point, I think it's 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
As far as the pay goes, like if there's still a scholarship involved, like the scholarship is what it always is. But I think if it gets to that point, the contracts have to be 1 year. Still keep the same transfer portal rules. I like where we're at with the portal now. But to your point, like pick 3 schools to win a championship. I think the most important thing, like looking at Nebraska next year, I think the most important thing is beyond wins. I think it is how many guys can you get on the NFL draft board? I think that is the most important thing for Nebraska right now. How many guys can you get on the draft board to show high-rated recruits you can develop them into a quality draft pick to really get them paid? That's how you get the talent. That's how you go win championships.
And that's how you maintain a culture.
Nash, Ty, there's guys that came back that could be drafted.
I think it's reasonable to get 3.
I hope you get more than that.
What do you have this year? Maybe 2.
I'd say you have
2. I would
Ty,
say 3 max.
Nash.
No, I mean from this year's team.
Oh, this year's
team.
You're
I
gonna
think
have
maybe 2.
You're gonna have Newsome,
maybe Omar Brown. I think Omar Brown.
I think he'll get drafted.
Yeah, but that's probably it.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy like Marcus Washington potentially.
Nah.
I mean, very very small chance. But if he has he's not going to have a great pro day because he got hurt.
Yeah, no, I don't see it happening.
But I bet he gets picked up as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, and we're known for that.
Yeah,
the Brandon Riley treatment.
I mean, there's a reason why we always have a guy in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right. But I mean, going to next year's team, I think you have 3 legitimate guys on defense, maybe more. I think Tommy Hill is a top 2-day guy if he continues his trajectory.
Yeah, I think offensively, you have some guys on that O-line that are definitely like
they're probably like round 5, 6 right now.
Ben Scott, I think Ben Scott his draft stock could go up a lot.
Yeah,
Ben Hart's could go up with him coming back.
Yeah, Ben Hart, the biggest turnaround in football
he
history.
Was the punching bag of this podcast.
Yes. Oh, dude, ours
54.
too.
54.
That
54.
Homeboy had 0.0 for an entire season. You can't go negative.
It's insane.
Like
you should be able to.
You should.
Yeah.
You can't. Talk to Pro Football Focus.
Hey, he did.
Yeah.
Even though it might not have said it.
But yeah, I mean, I think Ben Hart's a legitimate draft prospect. And when Matt Rule came in and said that, I laughed. I was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Take the knee braces off.
It could be that. it could be that. Because of Ben Hart, it's like, oh, well, Donovan Raiola might actually be a pretty legit O-line coach, right? I mean, because of
I
Ben
know
Hart.
a couple of you guys said that last year. I said it too, and people lost their minds. Like, look,
they got better before Rule got here. They got better throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing is knowing that Donnie called Whipple a crusty fuck on the headset. But like, how can you expect him to like turn it around to a top 10 offensive line overnight after being neglected for 8 years? Like,
yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
I think Donnie is a hell of a coach. People are still going to say, well, he's only there because now you got Dylan. Donnie can fucking coach, man.
Donnie can coach, and you think
he can recruit.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is a number 2 in the conference right now?
Yeah.
Number 2.
You think that with Donnie being around and now Dylan being around, Dom might come by too. And Dom, he knows a little thing about offensive line too.
Is there right now.
How long until Scott Shanley shows up?
Oh, fuck that guy.
Scott Shanley has most.
He called us a basement podcast.
Yeah, he doesn't have me blocked for some reason. I don't know.
My personal,
you want him? You want to
not.
get blocked? Just tweet basement podcast at him. He'll block you immediately.
I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I also got what's the old Omaha world? Brad Dixon. Brad Dixon has me blocked.
Gosh,
former cartoonist for the Omaha World Herald.
So as we talk about like recruiters on this team, we've seen it happen already. But for the next couple of years, one of our best recruiters is going to be Dylan Raiola. Him talking to these players, like he has been a major factor in recruiting.
He is a lightning rod, a magnet for talent. Like, I don't think people understand like how close we really were to flipping Brandon Baker at the last minute. Like, it went down to the wire.
Oh, I was really hoping it would happen, but most of me knew it wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, not only him, like Nathan Frazier, like all those guys, like I didn't think it was going to happen, but to know that there was a legitimate chance at the end really had me excited.
It's the timing, though. If Dylan would have been on board a little sooner.
Well, it was after that spring visit when he went to the baseball game, and I took that creepy picture with him. If he would have just freaking committed then.
Oh, our class would have been a top 10 class. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. Top 5.
Yeah.
Hey, next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
We have to make a bowl game.
Listen,
you have to make a bowl game.
You make a bowl game.
I mean, with the way this schedule's laid out, you have to get to 8, I think.
You get to 6, please. I
don't give a shit. I don't just give me to a bowl game.
I think you have to get to 8 for the major push in recruiting. I don't even think you have to get to 6. Obviously, we want to get to 6.
You have to get to 6.
Like, again, my whole point is it is about getting guys on the draft board first.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you want to win. You want to get the extra practice. But I think if you want to have a shot at a top 10 class next year, you have to be very early in the season on your way to 8 wins. Like, you have to come out the door on fire.
I hope we get to 8 wins.
What concerns
get to
me
6
is my thought, and
if you don't get to 6, I'm talking about fire and rule, by the way.
Yeah. We'll see how that. I hope that never happens.
But hold on. But Dylan's anyway.
What concerns me?
It's nuanced.
Dylan Raiola, the most hyped prospect for Nebraska, maybe ever. My concern is if you don't get to 7, let's say we have receiver issues, something like that. I'm worried about retaining Dylan. That is something that concerns me.
Yeah. No, if you don't get to 6, Dylan could be looking at elsewhere as well.
I think you have Dylan for 2 years minimum.
Okay.
Just because of the negative connotation of the decommitments, all the high schools. I think Dom is like, no, you're stuck there for 2 years unless something crazy happens, like with the staff.
Like a massive coaching change.
Yeah.
Like Donnie gets fired.
it would have to be something wild. Some sort of a scandal, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Dylan's locked in for 2 years, not only because of everything that goes with it, but because Dom knows what's going on.
Yep.
And they know they're still not there.
Dominic Raiola will be Nebraska's next head coach. And I'm.
Do you guys have a pick of anybody on the staff?
Do what?
Do you guys have a pick of anybody on the staff who would be next head coach if something happened?
No,
we should probably do something.
Tony
like
White
that.
could be cool.
I think Tony White, but Tony White will be gone probably after this year. If the
I mean,
plays.
he's associate head coach, which generally means head coach in waiting. I guess the more realistic question is, do you have somebody on the staff that would replace Tony White as D coordinator if he would have taken UCLA or anything else?
You hear about?
Not really.
You hear that Rob Dvorak has potential.
No.
Whatever that's worth.
No.
I mean, he is on every top assistant coach list out there for like under 35.
I think you go external. Early on, like there just isn't enough on film to be like, oh, Rob's the guy. And like, no.
We're talking D coordinator here, right?
Yeah, D coordinator. Okay. Just like if Tony White were to leave tomorrow, I mean, I think we're late in the game enough that they'd probably be like, yeah, no, someone has.
There's a year-long interim.
Yeah, there'd be an interim, but I don't think there's anybody that's gonna be like, yep, Rob's the guy, or yep, oh, it's gonna be pork roast or pot roast.
I really do like Dvorak. He reminds me a lot of who's the old young guy from Wisconsin? Leonard, Jim Leonard.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of him. Like, I think he could take it over and maintain it. I don't think he would improve it by any means.
No, just steady.
Yeah, it would stay steady. But I agree. You would probably have to go outside.
You have to.
I don't know who you would go get. Alex Grinch?
No.
Bob Diaco coming back?
Yeah, I'm in on
man.
that. Yeah.
I am straining when you say that.
Bill Bush?
Nah, he's done.
Not as a
Bill Bush is done.
He's done coaching.
He's done.
Yeah,
I think he's enjoying his radio gig.
Hell yeah. He's enjoying the radio gig, the motivational speaking. Like,
yeah.
You could tell like when he's doing it, he genuinely loves it.
We'd love to have Bill Bush on.
Bill, if you're listening, Join the boys.
Yeah,
Please.
exactly.
Okay, what are we at?
I think
we're ready to.
We're at a good point now where we talk about Alex and what he's doing, where people can find him. Any motivational things you want to say? Go for it.
Oh yeah,
Looking at you, baby.
All right,
Plug yourself, man. Tell the people.
Hey, if you guys want to buy a house, I handle financing. Give me a call.
Bingo.
There we go. Priorities, baby. Priorities.
No, give us a shout out. We like to get the nasty feedback from everything I have to say on Church of the Corn. And if you like to follow college basketball, you can always catch us on Blue Jay Overtime after the Creighton games or the Roll Jays podcast. But I also do a lot of live tweeting of Nebraska basketball when they're on.
Yeah.
So really quick, we're closing in on March Madness.
Yes.
Who is your pick right now going to win that natty?
Ooh. It's a cop out. I'm going to take UConn.
I knew you were going to do it.
Dude, UConn is so good. Like, my dark horse though, I tweeted it out this week. Like, there is the I can't even think of the shape. I'm really bad at geometry, but the
quadrilateral.
No, it's pentagon or something.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's not a pentagon. It's something like that though. Of greatness, and I'll send it to you guys later tonight. There are two teams that you guys will be very interested that are on the fringe of this green slate. And for like the last 8 years, the national championship, except for like 2 of them, have come out of this.
Don't say it. I know.
Nebraska and Creighton are there.
I knew it. I knew.
Nebraska and Creighton are there. Now, I think Nebraska and Creighton are legitimate title contenders? No.
Stop.
I don't.
Well, unless it's played at PBA.
What is it?
Yeah. Unless it's played at PBA or the Pentagon.
Yeah.
It's like top 20 offense, top 20 defense.
Yeah.
Like
and like coach that has been there for longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
And no, it was fascinating because I'm a basketball purist and a basketball junkie. I jumped on this guy's page. It was just I wasted 3 hours one night just going through his page. I think an interesting one would obviously be Creighton if they got the right matchups. I think Nebraska legitimately could be a Sweet 16 team if they get the right matchups in the right gym. There's a lot that goes into it for Nebraska. We didn't even talk about it, but it depends which K-State Tominaga shows up.
No shit. Which rank Mass shows up?
Well, no. Yeah. So here's my thing. Like, a lot of people hate me for this. K-State Tominaga is a cancer on the basketball court.
Ooh.
He's either a cancer for the opponent or he's a cancer for Nebraska, and there's no in between. I kind of hate watching him, except for when he's lights out.
Yeah, I like watching him when he's good.
Dude, when he's not scoring, it's maddening.
Like,
it's palms up. Like,
dude, you want to watch the most infuriating basketball player for Nebraska? Go watch K-State Tominaga against Minnesota when they blew the 15-point lead. Yeah.
Which one?
I was finding a noose and jumping off the roof of my house. Like,
it
was brutal.
Yep.
So, but Kansas is there, North Carolina's there, Duke's there.
That's what I was wanting to hear.
I think North Carolina has a legitimate shot. They've kind of slipped since they beat Duke. I don't think Duke's that good, but they're there. If I had to pick a dark horse, I'd pick Arizona, and that's not like a hot pick for a dark horse. But
I don't know if you know this. You probably do not. I'm a massive Duke fan. So.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
JJ Redick.
The most unlikable basketball player in history.
That's not even the most unlikable Duke player.
Next to Adam Morrison. Of my childhood, yes, it is.
Oh, of your child. I was going to say, that's not even the most unlikable Duke player.
I mean, yeah, there's Christian Leitner, but...
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen's a douche.
Duke.
Yeah, you could name 100.
I was at the Final Four when Grayson Allen and Duke won it.
It's pretty great.
I almost got free tickets from a Kentucky fan, but I had to come back for Monday for work. I was really upset.
Whack. Yeah, what are all these douchey players, douchey fans? Am I right, guys?
Am I right?
What's crazy is when you talk about like the most unlikable Duke players of all time, all of them white. All of them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And Connor's got a poster of
Sheldon Williams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sheldon Williams.
Who's the guy that like punched Tyler Hansbrough? Gerald Henderson?
Yeah. Henderson.
Yeah.
Tyler Hansbrough deserved it.
For what? Just
playing
owning
at that
Duke?
Shit school.
Just owning Duke.
Fuck Tyler Hansbrough.
This isn't a Duke podcast.
I know you listen.
Are you guys done?
This isn't a Duke podcast.
Wayne
Drake, where
Ellington
can they
torched
follow you?
Drake before Degrassi, the greatest Twitter handle on earth, as Jimmy Allen has dubbed it. I claim that because I was Drake well before the show Degrassi came out. So
right, you were.
I was Drake my whole childhood.
He was still
Jared couldn't pronounce Alex.
You were Drake before Aubrey, like he was Aubrey.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Before he lets leaks of his own. Anyway,
his wiener.
You can say it.
Yeah, it was his wiener.
His wang doodle. Alex Drake. Even though you are sort of a J-sker, kinda.
I'm a J-sker by fault, but it'll end one day.
Thank you for coming on. No Block, No Rock.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
Thanks for joining us. All right, guys, go to NBNRpodcast.com. We got merch. Mike's wearing some merch over there. Got old Connor over here wearing a hat.
Josh needs to buy some merch.
I don't know where your hat is, KD.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm overdue to buy some of your guys' merch.
Oh,
hey, we got a sick hat.
Sick hat.
Oh, you don't even have it on. None of you guys have it on. That one's
Jared's hat doesn't fit real well.
No, not the cool one. We have a cool
cool
hat.
It's cool. It's fine.
I like this one.
It's cool.
It's very
I like the pullover.
Yeah,
that's pretty neat. I like that. That's pretty
Adidas.
neat.
It's Adidas, you know.
All right, guys.
That's the best thing Adidas has ever made.
I know. Adidas is ass.
Nike, please.
Switch to Jordan. Jordan. 100%.
We're all on board for Jordan Brand.
Jumpman Herbie.
Yep.
Oh
Down. Can you imagine
the
Fat
marketing?
Herbie with the belly?
Can you imagine the market?
Dude, I've been pitching this for like 6 years.
Oh, I'm gonna make
ever
a
since
Jumpman
Michigan
Herbie
went Jordan.
logo.
If we get
Please
Jumpman
do.
Herbie, I will get it tattooed immediately.
I'm gonna make a
going
Jumpman
to
Herbie
get it
logo when I
tattooed
get
this
home
week.
tonight.
Are you really?
And we're gonna make merch.
But I
with
will.
it.
It's right.
Jumpman Herbie logo. We're making it and making merch with it.
It's right there.
Do I get a cut, right?
Sure. Sure.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the same handle. We made it so easy for you. At NBNR Podcast. Go follow us. Give us a 5-star review, thumbs up, whatever. And Tony Romo, thanks for the shout out on the Super Bowl last night.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Like he wanted to
Send
do
the
it.
bill to Kyle.
We're sending the bill to Herd. We had to tell him, hey, make sure you yell "No Block, No Rock" during the Super Bowl. Bill it to this guy, Chris Gorman. So,
Yeah. Quick $500K. Don't worry about it.
no fuss.
Yeah. It's nothing.
Chris has got it.
Yeah. He's got it. Money bags.
All right, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
Connor Cavalack.
Alex Drake.
As always, beat Penn State. Got to make the fucking tournament.
And Ohio State for women's basketball. Another number 2.
That'd be cool.
And GBR.